If you love Mediterranean food but think desserts are off the table with dairy or gluten restrictions, you know that frustrating feeling of skipping the sweet course. But these recipes prove that creamy, flaky, and rich Mediterranean desserts can actually be made without any of the usual allergens, and they taste just as indulgent. One secret is using a simple pantry swap that gives you that same honey-soaked, nutty texture without any refined sugar or wheat. And as you scroll through this list, you'll see how easy it is to recreate that bakery-style satisfaction right at home. Whether you're making something for a family gathering or just craving a cozy, healthy treat for yourself, these ideas make everyone feel included at the table. Imagine a silky, lemon-scented custard that's completely dairy-free, or a crunchy, nut-filled pastry that's surprisingly gluten-free and still perfectly sweet. You're about to see a whole set of options that turn Mediterranean flavors into everyday desserts you'll actually want to make again and again, not just once. So let's dive into this roundup of 18 irresistible Mediterranean dessert ideas that work for your lifestyle. Let's kick things off with a classic that's been reimagined for everyday baking. These baklava bites capture all the sticky, nutty goodness of the original without the fuss. You'll layer flaky phyllo dough with a mix of chopped walnuts and a touch of cinnamon. A simple syrup made with honey and a splash of lemon juice gets poured over the top before baking. The whole thing comes together in a muffin tin, making portion control a breeze. For a nut-free version, swap the walnuts for toasted sunflower seeds and skip the almonds. Everyone loves that satisfying crunch and sweet, aromatic finish. Next up, we have a creamy treat that's perfect for warm afternoons. This lemon olive oil cake is the kind of dessert that feels fancy but is secretly simple. It's a staple for anyone avoiding dairy, since the olive oil keeps it incredibly moist. You'll whisk together eggs, sugar, and a generous amount of fresh lemon zest. Then, you fold in a light flour blend and a good glug of extra virgin olive oil. The batter bakes up into a golden cake with a tender, almost velvety crumb. A dusting of powdered sugar or a drizzle of simple lemon glaze adds a pretty finish. It's bright, refreshing, and pairs beautifully with a cup of tea. Let's move on to something chilled and creamy that requires no oven time. This chocolate avocado mousse is proof that healthy desserts can be truly indulgent. It's a lifesaver for anyone avoiding eggs or dairy, yet it tastes like a rich French patisserie treat. You'll blend ripe avocados with cocoa powder, a little maple syrup, and a splash of vanilla. The secret is to blend until completely smooth, scraping down the sides a few times. It sets up beautifully in the fridge for about an hour, becoming thick and silky. A pinch of sea salt on top really makes the chocolate flavor pop. People are always shocked that something so creamy is packed with healthy fats. Now, let's explore a fruity, no-bake dessert that's perfect for summer gatherings. This collection of Mediterranean desserts should keep you inspired for a while. Which idea are you most excited to try first? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single one. If you're cooking for a specific dietary need, mention that too. I'm always looking for new recipe ideas to include in future roundups. While you are here, go ahead and hit that like button if this list helped you. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is a great time to join the tribe. Stick around because there is plenty more to watch in this video. These no-bake date and nut bars are the ultimate grab-and-go Mediterranean dessert. They are naturally sweetened and free from refined sugar, making them a great choice for a quick energy boost. You'll pulse medjool dates with almonds, a handful of dried apricots, and a pinch of salt. The mixture sticks together perfectly without any added syrup or butter. Press it firmly into a lined pan and let it chill until firm enough to slice. For a nut-free option, use toasted pumpkin seeds and shredded coconut instead. They have a chewy, satisfying texture that feels like a real treat. Next, we'll whip up a light and airy dessert that's perfect after a heavy meal. This rosewater rice pudding is a fragrant, comforting dessert that feels like a warm hug. It's naturally gluten-free and can easily be made dairy-free with coconut milk. You'll simmer short-grain rice in a mix of milk and a little sugar until it's thick and creamy. A teaspoon of rosewater stirred in at the end gives it that signature floral note. Top it with crushed pistachios and a few dried rose petals for a beautiful presentation. If rosewater is too strong, a splash of orange blossom water works wonderfully too. It's soothing, elegant, and surprisingly simple to pull together. Let's finish this first section with a crispy fried treat that's impossible to resist. These honey and sesame fritters are little golden pillows of joy that come together in minutes. They are perfect for using up simple pantry ingredients and feel like a special occasion snack. You'll mix flour, a bit of yeast, and warm water to create a soft, sticky dough. Drop spoonfuls into hot oil and fry until they puff up and turn deep golden brown. Once drained, you'll drench them in warm honey and sprinkle generously with toasted sesame seeds. For a lighter version, you can bake them at a high temperature until golden. The contrast between the crispy outside and soft inside is absolutely addictive. Up next, we have a baked dessert that brings a taste of the Mediterranean coast right to your kitchen. Knee long-form video script. Next up is a dessert that feels like a warm hug from the Mediterranean coast. This orange and almond semolina cake is naturally gluten-free and perfect for anyone avoiding wheat. You start by mixing semolina with ground almonds, a little sugar, and a splash of olive oil for moisture. Fresh orange juice and zest go right in, giving it that bright citrusy lift. Once baked, it turns golden and tender, with a slightly crumbly texture that soaks up syrup beautifully. For a dairy-free version, swap the yogurt in the batter for a plant-based alternative or just leave it out. People love how this cake feels both light and satisfying, like a sunny afternoon on a plate. Let's move on to another treat that's just as simple and full of flavor. Now here's a dessert that's almost too easy to believe, but it's absolutely delicious. Pistachio and rose halva fits right in with the Mediterranean theme because it uses simple pantry staples and bold floral notes. You'll toast some sesame seeds or use tahini as the base, then stir in honey and crushed pistachios. A pinch of rose water gives it that signature perfume, but you can adjust the amount to your taste. The mixture sets up in the fridge in about an hour, so there's no baking required. If you're nut-free, swap the pistachios for sunflower seeds and use seed butter instead of tahini. This halva is rich, crumbly, and just sweet enough to feel like a real indulgence. Next, we'll look at a chilled dessert that's perfect for warm evenings. If this recipe lineup got you thinking about meal planning, I have good news. Over at www.healthybitestribe.com, you can do more than just browse. You can use the AI recipe generator to create custom dishes based on what you have in your pantry. The meal planner helps you organize your week around recipes like these. You can save every recipe you like and share them with family or friends. The community features are designed for people with food allergies, restrictions, or anyone eating healthier. It is a practical next step after watching a video like this one. Head over to the site anytime and start building your own collection. This next one is a refreshing twist on a classic Mediterranean flavor combo. Yogurt and fig frozen bark works great for hot days, or when you want something cool and creamy. You spread thick Greek yogurt onto a lined baking sheet, then swirl in some fig jam or chopped dried figs. A drizzle of honey and a sprinkle of toasted walnuts or sesame seeds go on top. Freeze it for a couple of hours, then break it into pieces like bark. For a dairy-free version, use coconut yogurt and make sure your fig jam has no added sugar. People love how this feels like a fancy dessert, but takes almost no effort. Let's keep the cool theme going with another no-bake favorite. These little bites are proof that healthy desserts can be incredibly satisfying. Tahini and date truffles are a Mediterranean staple because they use just a handful of whole ingredients. You blend soft dates with tahini, a pinch of salt, and maybe a dash of cinnamon. Roll the mixture into small balls, then coat them in crushed pistachios or shredded coconut. They come together in minutes and need no oven time at all. If you're avoiding sesame, swap the tahini for sunflower seed butter and use a different coating. These truffles are chewy, nutty, and just sweet enough to curb any craving. Now let's turn to a baked dessert that's a little more traditional. This one is a classic Mediterranean cake that's loved from Greece to Egypt. Semolina and coconut basbousa is naturally gluten-free and has a wonderfully moist, dense texture. You mix semolina with shredded coconut, yogurt, and a little melted butter or oil. Pour it into a pan, bake until golden, then soak it in a simple syrup flavored with orange blossom water. The syrup seeps in and makes every bite soft and fragrant. For a lower sugar version, use a sugar substitute in the syrup or reduce the amount by half. People always go back for seconds because it's not too sweet, just perfectly balanced. We got one more dessert coming up that's a real showstopper. Last for this section is a dessert that feels elegant but is incredibly simple to pull off. Baked figs with honey and walnuts are a Mediterranean classic that highlights fresh fruit. You have ripe figs, place them in a baking dish, and drizzle with honey and a splash of orange juice. Top with chopped walnuts and a pinch of cinnamon, then bake until the figs are soft and syrupy. Serve them warm with a dollop of yogurt or a scoop of dairy-free ice cream. If fresh figs aren't available, dried figs rehydrated in warm water work just as well. The combination of sweet, nutty, and tangy flavors is absolutely irresistible. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up with a few final ideas to round out your Mediterranean dessert spread. Next up is a creamy, dreamy panna cotta that gets a Mediterranean twist with orange blossom water and toasted almonds. This dessert is perfect for anyone looking for a light, dairy-free treat that still feels decadent and special. You start by blooming a little agar-agar in warm coconut milk, then simmer it with a touch of honey and a splash of orange blossom water. Pour the mixture into small cups or ramekins, then let it chill in the fridge until it sets into a silky, wobble-perfect custard. Once firm, top each one with a sprinkle of crushed pistachios or sliced almonds for a bit of crunch. If you prefer a vegan version, just swap the honey for maple syrup and use any plant-based milk you like. The floral aroma and subtle sweetness make this feel like a fancy restaurant dessert, but it's so simple to make at home. And once you've mastered that silky texture, you'll be ready for another easy Mediterranean indulgence. Cooking with dietary restrictions can feel isolating sometimes, but it does not have to. This recipe collection is a reminder that there is a whole community of people making similar swaps. At www.healthybitestribe.com, you can connect with others who understand your needs. You can share your own versions of these Mediterranean desserts and see what others are making. The community chat is a warm space to ask questions, share wins, and find encouragement. You are not cooking alone. There are so many people on the same journey. If you want to be part of that, subscribe to the channel and visit the site. This is your invitation to join a tribe that truly supports you. This fig and walnut cake is the kind of dessert that proves you don't need flour to make something incredibly satisfying. It's naturally gluten-free and packed with wholesome ingredients, so it works for many dietary needs without sacrificing taste. You blend dried figs and walnuts into a chunky paste, then mix in eggs, a little olive oil, and a hint of cinnamon. Pour the batter into a lined pan and bake until the top is golden and the kitchen smells like a cozy bakery. Once cooled, you can drizzle a little honey over the top or dust it with powdered sugar for a pretty finish. For an egg-free version, try using a flax egg and adding a bit more fig puree to keep it moist. Every slice is dense, fudgy, and studded with chewy fig pieces that make it feel like a special treat. That combination of fruit and nut is so good you'll want to try the next dessert with a similar warm, spiced vibe. This chocolate and tahini bar comes together in minutes and tastes like a sophisticated candy bar. It's a great option when you need a quick dessert that's still full of Mediterranean flavor and free of common allergens. Simply melt good quality dark chocolate, spread it thin on a parchment-lined sheet, and drizzle generous swirls of tahini over the top. Use a knife or skewer to create marbled patterns. Then sprinkle on some flaky sea salt and toasted sesame seeds. Pop the tray in the fridge until the chocolate hardens, then break it into uneven shards for a rustic look. You can also add dried cranberries or chopped pistachios for extra texture and color. The rich chocolate and nutty tahini balance perfectly, making each bite both creamy and crunchy. Once you've had a taste of that sweet and salty magic, you'll be eager to explore another layered Mediterranean dessert. Warm, juicy roasted plums with honey and cinnamon might be the simplest dessert on this list, but they're absolutely unforgettable. They're naturally sweet and don't require any refined sugar, which makes them a perfect fit for healthier comfort food. Have fresh plums, remove the pits, and arrange them cut side up in a baking dish. Drizzle generously with honey, sprinkle with cinnamon, and add a few whole cloves or a star anise if you like. Roast at 375 degrees until the plums are soft and the juices have turned into a syrupy sauce. Serve them warm with a dollop of coconut yogurt or a scoop of vanilla ice cream for extra indulgence. The plums get tender and caramelized with a spicy aroma that fills your whole kitchen. That cozy fruit and spice combination will carry you right into the next dessert, which also relies on simple pantry ingredients. These pistachio and cardamom cookies are buttery, crumbly, and loaded with the kind of floral spice that makes Mediterranean baking so special. They're naturally gluten-free if you use almond flour, and they come together with just one bowl. Cream together softened butter or coconut oil with powdered sugar, then stir in ground cardamom, finely chopped pistachios, and almond flour until a soft dough forms. Roll the dough into small balls, flatten them slightly, and bake until the edges are just golden. Once cool, you can dust them with more powdered sugar or dip half in melted white chocolate for a bakery-style look. For a dairy-free version, use a good vegan butter and check that your chocolate is dairy-free too. The cardamom gives a lovely aromatic kick, while the pistachios add a satisfying crunch in every bite. With those warm spices still lingering, you're ready for one last dessert that brings the whole Mediterranean dessert journey together. To close out this collection, here's a rose and raspberry sorbet that's refreshing, vibrant, and surprisingly easy to make without an ice cream maker. It's perfect for hot days and fits a wide range of diets since it's dairy-free, gluten-free, and naturally sweetened. Blend frozen raspberries with a splash of rose water, a squeeze of lemon juice, and a little honey or maple syrup until you get a smooth puree. Pour the mixture into a shallow dish and freeze, stirring every hour with a fork to break up ice crystals. After a few hours, you'll have a soft, scoopable sorbet that tastes like a garden in bloom. For a prettier presentation, serve it in chilled glasses. And there you have it, 18 Mediterranean desserts that prove healthy, can taste incredible. You can pick and choose the ones that fit your diet, your cravings, or your time. Whether you need something nut-free, gluten-free, or naturally sweetened, this collection has you covered. If you enjoyed this roundup, be sure to like the video and subscribe so you never miss another set of ideas. For even more recipes and tools, come visit the community at www.healthybitestribe.com. You will find an AI recipe generator, a meal planner, and a place to save and share your favorites. There is also a friendly community chat where you can swap tips and get support. Thank you for spending time with this recipe lineup. Go ahead and make one tonight.